If we came outside, literally where I'm at right now, I could. I'm not saying I want you or want to take you off this earth, but realistically, I will kill you if we fought.
Terence Crawford just fired back at Joaquin Buckley, and what happened next shocked the entire combat sports world. UFC star called him out publicly, but did Bud just shut him down with one savage response? Crawford accept the March 7th sparring challenge, or is this a trap designed to test his legacy? Fans, which city are you watching from right now? Make sure you like, subscribe, and share our channel. The whole fight world erupted after UFC star Joaquin Buckley delivered one of the boldest and most disrespectful threats ever aimed at a boxing legend. And Terence Crawford's reaction turned out to be nothing like anyone predicted.
If we was to fight right now on the streets, I'll break your neck. And that's on my kids. And you know it, I know it, and the whole world know it.
What began as a basic discussion about boxing versus MMA during a live stream has now grown into one of the most heated and personal clashes between two combat sports worlds we have ever seen. Terence Crawford, the fighter who stepped away undefeated at 42-0 after defeating Canelo Alvarez, is now being called out, threatened, and disrespected by a UFC athlete who believes he can enter any arena and overpower the best boxer on the planet. The tension between these two has reached a breaking point that has fans from both boxing and MMA completely split, with millions of people online arguing about who is truly right and who would win in a real showdown. However, what Buckley said that pushed Crawford completely over the line and forced him to deliver the most ruthless and calculated response of 2026 is something that stunned everyone who saw it unfold. But before we break down Crawford's explosive reply, let's rewind to where this entire crazy situation first began and why Buckley chose to go after the greatest boxer of his generation.
So, from a performance standpoint, okay, I think this is Buckley's finest work. And that's a big statement. This is an entertainer.
The controversy started when Terence Crawford showed up on Adin Ross Kick livestream alongside 4-division world champion Shakur Stevenson, where both boxing stars were speaking openly about their sport. During the broadcast, Crawford made a comment that instantly sparked outrage across the MMA world, telling millions of viewers clearly, the UFC will never be greater than boxing. Never.
Boxers get paid more than MMA as a whole. Like, it's no comparison. You know, that's why if you notice, you see a lot of...
Top.
No.
At the top.
As a whole. UFC, okay, for instance, UFC...
Shakur Stevenson fully supported Crawford during the live stream and even took it a step further by challenging UFC lightweight champion Ilia Topuria to step into a boxing ring, questioning whether MMA fighters could truly deal with elite-level boxing skills. Those remarks quickly spread across social media within hours, reaching millions of fight fans who had strong opinions about whether boxing or MMA creates the more complete and dangerous athletes.
I always say, man, I'm a boxer, but I can wrestle. If a wrestler grabs you, I don't care what you know, I don't care who you is, it's over with if you don't know how to wrestle.
Right.
It's over with.
Buckley, the UFC welterweight known as Newman's, who earned the UFC Knockout of the Year honor with his unbelievable spinning back kick, came across those remarks and completely lost control on social media. Buckley jumped on Instagram Live and delivered one of the most intense and confrontational responses any MMA fighter has ever aimed at boxing icons. And the entire combat sports world instantly paused to watch. Buckley went straight at the boxers, saying, "You boxers show no respect to us fighters in the UFC. Shakur, I'm calling you out. Quit disrespecting us, man. We are far more exciting than you all. That's just the reality."
Y'all boxers are so disrespectful to us athletes, bro, in the UFC. And I understand we don't get paid like y'all, we don't get money like y'all, but I tell you right now, we outwork every single boxer in the room. Hands down, that's just the truth. That is just the truth. Are y'all skilled at what y'all do? Exactly.
A lot of people thought the outburst would end there, but Buckley was only warming up. And what he said next is what really sent shockwaves through both sports and pushed Crawford to answer right away. Buckley kept going during his fiery social media tirade with comments no one saw coming, speaking straight to the boxers and saying, "If we stepped outside right now, I could knock you out. I'm not saying I want to end you, but realistically, in a hand-to-hand fight, I would knock you out."
Because I heard Shakur also say, "Oh, hey, then let's fight then," to Ilya Tapori. And I ain't gonna pick on the little dude because he's little. I get his big bro though. But no disrespect, you might be retired. I ain't asking to fight you in an actual ring. But let's just work. Let's just work.
The internet exploded as soon as those statements started circulating, with supporters from both boxing and MMA choosing completely different sides and sparking one of the fiercest debates combat sports has witnessed in years. A lot of boxing fans were furious over Buckley's tone and felt he crossed a major boundary that went far beyond typical trash talk between competitors from separate sports and backgrounds. One fan quickly wrote online, "Buckley just disrespected the best boxer in the world. Crawford is 42-0 and defeated Canelo. Who does this UFC fighter think he is talking like that?" However, at the same time, MMA fans rushed onto social media backing Buckley fully, claiming his argument about real-life fighting effectiveness is something boxing supporters have never wanted to truly admit or discuss. One MMA supporter responded with just as much intensity. "Buckley is absolutely right. In a real no-rules fight, an MMA athlete beats a boxer every time. Crawford knows that too, which is why his reply sounded so calm." This constant exchange between followers of both sports turned into a social media frenzy that went on for days, with boxing versus MMA trending across several platforms at once. Buckley didn't stop there and also criticized Shakur Stevenson's latest performance against Teofimo Lopez, saying, "You beat Teofimo and all the trash he was talking. Sure, you won, but you should have knocked him out. You were too focused on protecting your record."
And I take my hat off to Shakur, because he made him look so basic, bro. Like, he couldn't do, bro. You couldn't figure out how to get to him or do nothing, bro.
Buckley's criticism of Shakur's clear and dominant win added even more disrespect to the situation, making the boxing world angrier and eager to see Crawford respond and shut him down. People close to Crawford's camp reportedly shared that when Bud first came across Buckley's remarks, he actually laughed at first. But his mood quickly changed once he understood how serious and personal the comments were toward both him and Shakur. To individuals familiar with Crawford's reaction, those around him said Bud didn't take the MMA versus boxing debate to heart. What bothered him was the exact wording Buckley used. That specific language went too far, and Crawford had no intention of letting it slide.
For instance, you'll see a guy headlining at the they probably be getting a couple of $1 million. But you will see a guy on the undercard of a big show probably making more money than that guy.
Which guy?
I'm just saying.
Terence Crawford immediately went on X and delivered a ruthless and carefully crafted reply that left the entire combat sports world stunned. While Buckley's supporters rushed to defend him, Crawford started with pure sarcasm aimed straight at Buckley's resume, posting with laughing emojis. "Yeah, I can see why he's nowhere close to the top. This guy is clueless." That one message quickly reminded everyone that, despite all the confidence he shows online, Buckley has never held a UFC title and has never reached the very peak of his own sport.
Boxers, y'all gotta quit. Alright? Y'all will get your ass whooped by somebody that is a UFC fighter. Right? Hands down, y'all got them hands, ooh, they sweet, they nice like that. But even if we do box, let's say that, even if we do box, one thing that I know I can do to boxers, I can pressure y'all.
Crawford wasn't done yet. He came back with another post that shifted the entire conversation in a surprising way, leaving fans unsure if he was joking or being completely serious. On X, he wrote, "Who's even fighting in the streets these days, talking about who he can beat out there?" He must have forgot they got switches for those kinds of tough guys. Switches lines set the internet on fire, with people arguing for hours about what Crawford really meant and whether it was an actual warning or just him being sarcastic and brushing it off at the same time. A lot of boxing fans felt Crawford was sending Buckley a clear message in the most direct way he could. Others believed he was simply pointing out the difference between real-life situations and organized combat sports, adding humor while keeping things dismissive.
Come and work with an MMA dude. I know you still staying sharp. I know you still in the ring training. You might not box again like you said, because ain't no money that's going to ever bring you back. But hey, don't allow your talents and your gifts to go to waste. Let me work with you, bruh. I got something to prove today.
Crawford wasn't quite done. He shared one more post that shifted the entire mood of the situation and revealed a side of Bud that fans don't often see online. He wrote, "I'm old and retired, y'all. I'm not about to be out here fighting in the streets, especially if I don't have the upper hand. Come on, you all know I'm scary." Playful and self-aware reply showed exactly why Crawford is viewed as one of the most respected names in combat sports. He managed to brush off a challenger with total confidence while still making people laugh at the same time.
It's not always physical with this game. People don't know that. With Terence, it's all mental.
I mean, because people would say, you know, it's the counter punch and it's his length.
Yeah,
you know,
gotta outthink him. And, you know, you could see he would counter my jab and then he would try to counter me with the hook, and I was rolling over the hook. He caught me with a couple of good uppercuts.
People close to the situation reportedly said that Crawford told those around him in private, "I don't have to prove anything to anyone. My record speaks for itself. 42-0 and one of the best to ever do it. What has this UFC fighter accomplished to think he can talk to me like that?" The boxing world quickly rallied behind Crawford's reaction, with fighters, promoters, and analysts all speaking out, picking sides as the tension kept building. Buckley didn't seem shaken at all by Crawford's replies and responded with an even stronger move that caught the entire combat sports community off guard. Instead of dragging the argument out online, Buckley showed he meant business and wanted to settle it in front of everyone. And threw out an official challenge to Crawford, saying, "Bud talking wild. We're not taking this to the streets, acting like he's going to do something with a switch. He'd better have one messing with me." Buckley then laid out clear details that made everything feel serious, suggesting a sparring session at the UFC Apex in Las Vegas on March 7th, 2020.
You know, Bud talking crazy, acting like he gonna, do something, in the streets, man. He gonna keep a switch. He gonna need a switch if he playing with me. We ain't finna do this in the streets. That was some good, deflection, He didn't really want to answer what I really asked him.
and that's to get that work. We can keep it out of the streets, you know, we ain't gonna be playing like that.
The date Buckley chose for the sparring session was not random. March 7th lands on the same weekend as Zuffa Boxing 4 at the UFC Apex, with UFC 326 scheduled at the T-Mobile Arena the very next day. Buckley made it clear this was not about chasing money or promoting himself, saying on his live stream, "This isn't about a payday. I'm completely serious. Let's step into the ring and handle this like real fighters." By naming a real date and location, the situation shifted from online drama to something that felt truly possible and very serious. Combat sports analysts believe Buckley's shift from street talk to a formal sparring challenge was actually a smart move, because it placed Crawford in a tough public position. One well-known analyst reportedly said, "If Crawford says yes, he risks his legacy by sparring an active UFC fighter while retired. If he says no, Buckley's team will say he was afraid. It's a smart setup." The boxing world quickly stood behind Crawford, arguing that agreeing to spar a UFC fighter would be beneath someone with his legendary status and career accomplishments. One boxing insider reportedly explained, "Crawford is 42-0 and beat everyone placed in front of him throughout his career. He doesn't owe Buckley or any UFC fighter anything. This is just a grab for attention." And MMA fans argued that Buckley's challenge was completely fair, and that if Crawford truly believes boxing is superior, he should have no issue proving it in a controlled sparring match with clear rules. The debate over whether Crawford should accept has become one of the biggest topics in combat sports, with strong opinions coming from every direction. Fans who follow both boxing and MMA are divided. Some feel Crawford owes the fight world an answer, while others believe he earned the right to enjoy retirement at 42-0 without any pressure. Media has been buzzing non-stop since this all began, with number Crawford's Buckley trending for days and generating millions of views across major platforms. One passionate boxing supporter posted, "Crawford already proved everything inside the ring. Buckley is just using his name to stay relevant. Bud should ignore him." An MMA fan quickly responded, "Buckley has been knocking people out in the UFC for years. He deserves respect. If Crawford keeps saying boxing is better, he should be ready to back it up." Split reaction shows exactly why this clash has captured so much attention from combat sports fans and reignited the endless argument over which discipline creates the better fighter. As of now, Crawford has not publicly answered Buckley's official sparring offer, leaving the entire fight community waiting to see what he will do next. People close to Crawford have reportedly advised him strongly not to take any challenge that could put his 42-0 record or reputation at risk. At the same time, other reports suggest he has not completely ruled out responding, and that discussions are still happening behind the scenes. Or what happens next? This situation between Terence Crawford and Joaquin Buckley has already become one of the most talked about stories in combat sports in 2026, without a single punch being thrown. Now millions of fans are asking the same question. Will Crawford answer the March 7th challenge? Will the sparring session actually happen? And will boxing or MMA finally get the clear answer everyone has been arguing about? That's all for now. For the latest updates, highlights, and major moments in boxing, make sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel and turn on notifications so you never miss new content like this. This video on Boxing Ring is created for educational, informational, and commentary purposes only. All boxing highlights, analysis, and discussions are shared for sports awareness, news, and review. We do not promote violence, harmful behavior, or unsafe imitation. All content is used in accordance with YouTube's fair use and community guidelines and fully researched based from updated resources. Viewer discretion is advised.